Welcome, Mosai Fitness Coaching, and in this video we are going to discuss a very important question, which is how long until I can see results, right? That's what we all want to know, right? If we're going to start this fitness journey, if we're actually going to start and immerse ourselves in training and eating clean and doing our steps and drinking water, how long is it going to take until I'm able to see physical results, tangible results, right? This is what we're going to discuss here, and this is what we're going to tackle, and I hope that you learn something by the end of it, so stay tuned. All right, let's get into it. Now, off the bat here, this pyramid right here that you see, from my experience and also from experience of many clients, I've seen that these are the different elements that the clients go through until they're able to see tangible results. And these here are essentially the elements that you need to satisfy to be able to get to your goal, short-term goal, long-term goal, whatever. And it starts with a foundation and then it builds it up. And every single time you go up the pyramid, the element that we have to satisfy is less important than the one on the bottom of it, right? So whenever you're going through some problems, you always have to go back to the bottom of the pyramid and ask yourself whether you're satisfying any of these things. All right, let's get into it. So off the bat here, on average, it takes about 3 to 6 months for you to actually see tangible results. So for example, if your goal is to lose 10 kilos, or if your goal is to lose 20 kilos, or even if your goal is to just get sub 10% body fat, trying to get some abs, it takes on average 3 to 6 months to be able to get to that goal, to get to that specific short term goal that you've set for yourself, right? And what you're going to need to do to be able to get to that goal are these things right here, right? So the first thing you need to do before even considering, achieving your goal or even considering, being able to get to the benchmark or the transformation that you've set for yourself, you need to adhere. Adherence, that's the most important thing. If you are not adhering, you're not going to get nowhere. I don't care how good your plan is. I don't care how long you've spent mapping out, strategizing, systemizing things. If you can't adhere, you'll not get nowhere. Matter of fact, you can be on a bad plan. You can be on something that's very generic, but adhere to it long enough, and you'll get a transformation. So that's the first important thing you need to do: adherence. Right? It's the first thing you need to work on, and it is usually the hardest thing as well. It's actually not the working out. It's not the dieting. That's the easy part. That's the simpler part. It's the adherence, right? Making sure that you're sticking to the plan 3 months down the line, making sure that you're sticking and consistently exercising 3 to 4 times a week for a month, 2, 3. That's the hard part, right? And it's the hard part not just because emotionally and mentally it's difficult, but it's also externally. Sometimes we have external challenges, right? Sometimes we may need to travel. Not now due to Corona, but usually, you may need to travel. How are you going to navigate your way through? Sometimes we need to go to maybe a work tennis. Sometimes we may need to go to, social events. And if you're on a certain diet, if you have a certain goal, then how are you going to be able to adhere in those situations? So it's not just a mental thing; it's an external thing as well. The most difficult part, though, is the mental aspect, right? Adherence is one of those things that's easy to do for a week. It's easy to do for 2, for 3, for 4, but it gets difficult, and it gets more difficult the more you do it, right? The more you try to adhere, the more you try to stick to a certain thing, the harder it becomes, specifically and especially when it comes to your fitness and when it comes to your nutrition. That is where most people fail. Most people don't fail with not knowing how to eat or not knowing how to exercise. We live in a day and age now in the 21st century where you have all this information. You go on YouTube, you go on Google, and you can find thousands of workouts, thousands of nutrition plans. So the information is out there. We don't have any shortage of information. We all know how to get fit. But the real challenge the reason why many of us fail is because we just cannot adhere properly, right? And you're not, I myself suffered from that for a long time, right? I was always stuck in the cycle. I will start something, tell myself, hey, look, it's January, my New Year's resolution. I'm going to get to this goal. I'm going to achieve this transformation that I've set out, and I stick to it for a month maybe, and then something happens, whether it's internal or external, and I just blow it all out of the water, right? Blow it all away, and I, feel bad about myself. I punish myself, and then I get back into it, right? I get back into it. I start getting results. I get a little bit complacent, and then we just restart the circle, and I'm stuck in this loop. And I know I'm not the only one. I know many of you have the same issue, right? Many of you start something and you truly want that goal, but something happens along the way. You lose some momentum, you lose some results, and maybe you forget to work out one day, maybe you forget to have your meal one day, maybe you cheat on your meal one day, and then one day leads to another. Next thing you know, it's been 3 months, you haven't worked out, you haven't been eating clean, you haven't been eating healthy, maybe you've been drinking, and you're just stuck in that, downward spiral situation. And look, it's not your fault. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, of course, you have control, you can take ownership over your life, but sometimes it's just not your fault, right? Sometimes maybe we're stressed, sometimes we're tired, sometimes work gets in the way, right? Sometimes we may have problems, we may have challenges within ourselves, within our lifestyle. So adherence is one of those things that, it can really be affected by other things within your life and also your mental part. Now, how can you overcome this? How can you truly overcome this? How can you truly adhere for as long as possible? From my experience and from the experience of many clients, accountability. Accountability is very important. If you have someone by your side showing you step by step how to do things, if you have someone that can call you out, if you have someone that can check in on you and be like, hey, look, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, then you have no way to escape. You've put yourself in a situation where you kind of have to do it. And that kind of makes your life a lot easier. I know many of us think, oh, accountability is just going to make my life so much harder. I have to commit to this guy. But it's actually the opposite. Accountability will make your life a lot simpler and a lot easier. Right? From my experience, and I'm sure you've gone through the same. Think of a time in your life where you wanted to achieve something. Maybe it was during work. You really wanted to achieve this thing. You really wanted to achieve that goal, but you just couldn't get there. But when you have your boss by your side, when you have your colleagues by your side, things just get a lot more easier. And you have that accountability, and you're willing to go through the challenges and go through the obstacles to get to your goal and to finish and complete the task. And that's what we're here for, right? That's the importance of accountability. It helps you, overcome these challenges. It helps you get to your goal no matter what. So yeah, to get back, accountability number one, and number two, you kind of need to enjoy. You need to find something that you enjoy doing, right? You need to find something that you kind of, that you look forward to, right? I've been working out now for over 10 years. I still look forward to my workout. Sometimes I don't, but when I do it and when I complete it, I'm so happy that I did. And when I'm in it and I'm sweating and I'm pushing myself, I have my friend or my training partner or my coach tell me to do one more rep, that just gives me that motivation, it gives me an enjoyment, gives me, in the moment, I don't really enjoy it. In the moment, it's a bit tough and this feels like suffering, but I enjoy how I feel after. So you gotta find something that you enjoy. You may not enjoy working out, but you may enjoy how you feel after a workout, or you may enjoy how you feel a month after working out. So you gotta find something you enjoy. If you enjoy the thing, and if you're accountable, if you hold yourself accountable on this thing, then you can adhere. And you can adhere for a long time. Now, I spend a bit too much time on this, but it's because it's very, very important. And it's the thing that really, really determines whether you're going to be successful in your goal or not. So adherence is number one. You need to learn how to adhere. And usually I would say it takes about, honestly, it takes 3 months until you're truly adhering the way you're supposed to. Although you can always improve your adherence. I can improve my adherence today. Been doing this for 10 years. I can still improve my adherence. Yeah. But I would say 3 months. You really need to get a feel of how to stick to something for 3 months until you can tell yourself, you know what, I've got it. I've got this under control. I can now step into the second, go into the next step. Once you find that your adherence at some point, the next thing you're gonna need to satisfy is your nutrition. Now, having said that, you could still work on your adherence and still improve your nutrition at the same time, but you're gonna have to choose one that you need to focus on. From my experience, I've seen clients, the ones that adhere, that focus on this, are the ones that get the best results. Right? Especially if you're early in your journey, right? If you've never really adhered for more than 4 months, 5 months, maybe a year, you kind of need to focus on that. You need to make sure that you can adhere for as long as possible, because that's when the real results will come. So adherence is number one. Then nutrition, right? You need to know whether you're in a calorie deficit, whether you're in a calorie surplus. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to be on a calorie deficit. If you're trying to gain weight, then you need to be on a calorie surplus. Or if you're trying to put on muscle, you need to be on a calorie surplus. So that's the first thing you need to focus on. That's the first thing you need to satisfy. And then macronutrients, right? We all know the formula: 1 gram of protein, 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight, or 2.2 grams of protein per 1 kg of body weight, right? Set the protein. Once you set the protein, then you can set your carbs, you can set your fat, depending on your preference, depending on what type of person you are, how active you are, so on and so forth. Nutrition, right? Once you have the nutrition on point, next thing you need to satisfy is exercise, right? Exercise is super, super important, but not just exercise, but you need to understand volume, you need to understand intensity, you need to understand frequency, because these are the things that will help you, are going to help you progress in your workouts. So that's the third element. You kind of need to dial down to be able to get a transformation. I mean, you don't have to do it in the form of weight training. You can do it in the form of cardio or any form of sports, but you kind of need to understand how you can progress in your exercise. And then the one after that, you need to track. You need to monitor. It's very, very important you monitor yourself. You monitor your data, yeah. Whether that's scale weight, whether that's measurements, whether that's changes in your progress in your workouts, your reps, your weight that you're using, the amount of sets that you've been performing, the amount of times you've been going to the gym. You kind of need to have that data in hand, because these data are going to objectively help you to see whether you're progressing or not. And even you can also anticipate future challenges. So if you have data and you're going through a challenge at this time, you can always go back to your old data and look, okay, what was going right, what was going wrong, and you can just objectively analyze and see, okay, maybe we may need to change this thing, we may need to change the other thing. So tracking is very important, but it's not the most important thing, right? However, it can be a great tool. For all I care, you can just do these things in progress, but it's just data, right? Data is the most important thing in anything, right? If you have data, you can understand the situation and you can improve upon it a lot better, right? So data. After that, once you're tracking, what's the next thing you can do to improve? Supplements, right? Supplements is the last one. Supplements, I mean, if you're doing everything right, you don't really need supplements, but it's something that you can add on that can help you progress, right? Now, the problem is that many times what happens is that people focus on tracking and supplements, right? First day they start their journey, they're tracking their food, they're making sure they're getting all the supplements, but they're forgetting about the foundation, right? The foundation is adherence, nutrition, and exercise. You do this, and you're gonna get results. And I'm confident to say you do this, and you're gonna get results within the first week. All my clients, when they start with me, 90% of them, they start getting results within the first week. Why? Because they're focusing on the foundation. They're not dwelling on the details that are unnecessary, that are not that important. Look, tracking and supplements are good, but they're not the most important thing. right? They're not the things that are going to get you results. What's going to get you results is you adhering, is you making sure your nutrition is on point, you getting your calories, making sure you get the right calories, the right macros, making sure you're exercising properly, and exercising in a way where you're improving, or you're progressing within your volume, within your intensity, and within your frequency. And you do this long enough, and you have no choice but to get results. Yeah. So focus on the foundation first. And honestly, within the first week, you'll see results. You'll see actual changes on the scale, or how you feel, or your energy levels, and so on and so forth. Right? You'll see changes within that. Having said that, though, just a little tip before I end. Just the last thing I want to leave before I end. The true result, the true transformation, although you will be able to see changes, like visible changes within your body, like drastic changes within your body within 3 to 6 months, right? And I'll put a link in here, and you can go check some of the transformations that I have on my page. I mean, within 3 months, 6 months, people completely transform their body. And although you can do that within 3 to 6 months, the real transformation only comes years after. I've been doing this for 10 years. I mean, for 10 years I've been doing sports. I've been training, and then I got into weight training a few years ago. I've been weight training properly, but I only I only saw the real transformation come when I formulated the habits. I formulated the right practices, the skills that I got. That's the real transformation. The habits that I can transfer on to other areas of my life. The reason why I think I'm doing well in other aspects of my life is because all the things that I've learned through my fitness journey since I was 14 years old until now, these habits and these practices and these skills that I have, I'm applying into my business life. I'm applying into my relationships. I'm applying it into my well-being. My overall well-being, my mental well-being, so on and so forth. And that's the real transformation, right? That's the true value of you actually doing that. It's not just the change in the scales or the change in how you look. That's nice and that's great. It's going to make you feel confident. The real change is the lifestyle you're going to have, the day-to-day life, the habits that you're going to carry over for life. These are the real results that you're going to get. And yeah, there you have it. It's a bit of a long one, but it's an interesting topic. It's a topic that I'm passionate about, and I wanted to give you as much value as I can. All I ask in return, maybe like it, subscribe, share it. Really helps with the algorithm. And if you're interested in maybe taking this journey a bit more seriously, if you're interested in actually, making sure that you implement a proven strategy, a proven system that can fit into your lifestyle, then simply go on to mosaifitnesscoaching.com, apply for a free consultation call. We can have a chat just like now. Right now I'm talking at you, but I'm not talking with you. In these free consultation calls, we can talk together, we can have a discussion, and I can give you value. So I hope this is helpful. Have a great day. Mo Saeed Fitness Coaching.